Welcome back everybody to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today we will go over the fight card for Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker Part 2. It will be held Saturday, July 13th. So we are getting this video out early. Well, early according to what I normally do. So we're probably about a week early than what I normally do, just because of all the big break that we've had. We had about 4 weeks of break, which was quite a while. I mean, I kind of missed this. I think everyone's jonesing for a UFC fight. So things will get back to normal now. Nevertheless, we will go over the fight card, starting from the first fight to the main event. So we will start off with the first fight. So let's start. This fight will probably take the longest to describe, believe it or not, because this is the fight I went back and forth on the most. And I switched my pick twice. So let's start. Nicholas Mota versus Tom Nolan. Nicholas Mota, 5'9", 70-inch reach, 13 wins, 5 losses, 30 years old. Tom Nolan, 6'3", 73-inch reach, 6 wins, 0 losses, 23 years old. Man, this fight, you know, it's a tough one to pick, just because Nolan is new, he's young, and he hasn't been tested. But he's getting put up against a guy who has been tested and hasn't necessarily shown, you know, a high ceiling, but who's very exciting, who throws down, has a powerful left punch, left hand, and can put people's lights out. But he is a little on the shorter side for this division. So, you know, he's susceptible to leg kicks. He's susceptible to takedowns. He's susceptible to power punches. And I'm talking about Mota in particular. You know, the last fight he had, he fought, oh, what's his name? This is where I had it all. I should have written it down. Anyways, he fought a really experienced fighter who had a really good game plan and totally dominated Mota. He would strike from the outside. He was the taller fighter. He had a reach advantage, strike from the outside, leg kicks from the outside, and he would always strike and circle to the left. And Mota had a hard time landing his power shot, and that's what he needed to do. So he was getting touched up from distance, couldn't return. Once he got his leg kick, he normally comes in, starts throwing heavy bombs, but the guy would keep circling, and it was throwing Mota off. Mota needs guys to go back, straight back, and then he can usually come in with a leg kick or a jab, and then follow with his left, and he's a power puncher. He's shown that he can get knocked out, but the guys who have knocked him out, in all fairness, the guys who have knocked him out are power punchers and are big and are just basically really powerful guys. Fast punchers are the same type of, you know, fighter that he is. Those are the guys that have knocked him out. He hasn't really beaten anyone, you know, of real UFC caliber yet. That doesn't mean he can't. And he has probably hurt everybody. Everybody who's fought Nicholas Mota has been hurt. So he hasn't been able to finish it and follow it up. So they've survived it and then come back to beat him. Now we got Tom Nolan. Really tall, really lanky. He fights well at range, but he doesn't have a tall man defense. He has a really good defense. He has a long jab that he uses. He can touch you up from distance, and he's unusually tall for the division. But when he comes in to throw his power, he does not throw it from the outside. He goes in, he starts throwing heavy, in a medium range, sometimes a little too close, but he's got fast hands, good timing. seems like he's been fairly durable, but who has he really fought? And this is where it comes down to. He hasn't really fought anybody. And the guy he fought in the Contender Series, Bogdan, I think his name was, he sucked. And he ended up knocking him out. I really don't think that really tested him. And looking back at his fights before the UFC, you know, he seems like he's fairly durable. And if he is durable, he's going to survive the once or twice that Mota's going to land on him. And he's going to be able to grind out a decision. And I don't really know. He might be able to knock Mota out. He might not. We'll see. But it's his durability that really hasn't been tested because he hasn't been at this level yet. And there has been some red flags. I remember we fought a guy who's right now 0-3. I think his last name was Sinclair. And it was a really close fight. And the guy, you know, put it on him and it went 3 rounds. I think he won, you know, 29-28. And that's when I saw that there was guys who can possibly push him and respond to him and land on him, and it'll be a close fight. And this Sinclair guy is not UFC level. Mota is barely UFC level. So I went back and forth, and then looking at the odds, I mean, Nolan is -290. And normally when I have such a hard time picking a fight, I would go with the underdog. And this one actually, originally I picked Mota. Originally I was going to pick Mota. I'm like, this guy can do it. Huge underdog. He could land on him. But Nolan's a big question mark is he going to be able to survive when Mota lands on him? If he can survive and he pushes Mota, he can eventually wear down Mota. He's just so much 6 inches taller. He's just going to be so much longer. He's going to be hard to finish. Even if he lands on the ground, he's going to be long and lanky. Mota's just going to have a hard time reaching him. You know, but Nolan does come in when he starts throwing his power punches. But his hands are fairly fast. And he's got pretty good timing. Now we'll find out exactly what level he's at. Mota will hurt this guy. Whether he hurts him and finishes him is the question. And will Nolan survive and still pull out a 29-28 victory? Or maybe he can land on Mota. Yes, Mota's been clipped. Mota's been knocked out. But the guys who knocking out Mota are power punchers, are big punchers, and very dynamic strikers. I don't know if Nolan is a dynamic striker, but he's a good striker. So I went back and forth on this one. I'm going to pick Nolan. But if you see where it is on the chart, I'm barely picking Nolan. And honestly, on some of the parlays I'm going to do, I'm going to swap Mota for Nolan. But I think Nolan is just going to be too long and too tall and too big, and I think Mota's going to have a hard time reaching him. Nolan's fight style actually helps Mota because he doesn't fight long. He jabs long, but but because he doesn't have a tall man defense, he's actually crouched down and he's, you know, protecting himself really well, but that also brings him down to Mota's level. So Mota will have an easier time to reach Nolan, but Nolan actually has a better defense because he fights like that. So, I mean, Mota's only path to victory is knocking Nolan out. And that's the thing, is I think Nolan will be able to survive it. It's a big back and forth for me. So I'm going to pick Nolan. You know, if you bet on Mota, I think he's not a bad underdog to play here. I mean, we'll find out, I guess, when Nolan comes in. We'll find out what level he's at because we really don't know. The guys he fought, the guys he has fought are not that good. Mota is better than they are. Mota might not be a lot better. We just don't know where Nolan's ceiling is going to be at. He's got the frame for this. He should win this. He should outlast Mota. He's young. He seems very strong. He seems very durable. but we don't know. And those are one of the things. Is like I said, I'm gonna have Mota in subsidiary parlay just because I really like the odds on him. Tom Nolan, we don't know, but I'm going to pick Nolan. I think he's going to be able to just be a little too long. I think Mota is going to have a hard time reaching him and a hard time finishing him. I'm not saying that Nolan's, I think he's going to hurt Nolan. I just don't know if he can finish Nolan. So Nolan's going to be the pick. This is one of those fights that I went back and forth on. I changed my mind twice. I just want to really pick this underdog. But I don't know if Mota's the guy I want to totally go in on it. But at the same time, Mota's going to get cut from the UFC. He's going to go in here and he's going to go in there swinging. So, but he's just so much smaller than he is. That's my dilemma. If the height was a little closer and Mota has an easier time reaching him, I would pick Mota. But there's such a big reach advantage for Nolan, and Nolan's still got fast hands. He's not slow, so he could touch up Mota. It all depends of his fight plan. If he goes back, straight back, and stands in front of Mota, he can get hit and possibly knocked down. I don't know if he can get knocked out. So Nolan's going to be the pick. Wouldn't blame you to go for Mota. I was thinking about betting on Mota. Still thinking about betting on Mota. But I might just put a smart parlay where I swap Nolan and Mota, just so Nolan doesn't ruin it. I mean, at minus 290 or minus 295, wherever Nolan's at, I mean, for his debut, I don't know. I don't like it. Nevertheless, moving on. We'll look over the board later as well. All right. Next fight, Felipe Boons versus Joshua Van. And this was a substitution. Dennis Bondar was supposed to fight Felipe Boons. Felipe Boons, 5'7", 71-inch reach, 13 wins, 6 losses, 34 years old. Joshua Van, 5'5", 65-inch reach, 9 wins, 1 loss, 22 years old. I bet on Joshua Van. I didn't bet on Joshua Van when he first had his debut against the guy from Kazakhstan, Zamagulov, I think. Actually, Felipe Boons was supposed to fight Zamagulov. Then something happened. The fight got canceled. And Joshua Van was a last-minute substitute. Joshua Van comes in, beats Zamagulov, and I had bet against Joshua Van. I didn't see that much from the local scene. And the thing is, the guy was young. So from the time he had fought the fight previous to then, he had made huge improvements. He fought a really tough guy, and he won a close decision. Totally ruined my parlay. The next fight, I bet on Joshua Van. I was really impressed with his takedown defense and how well he fights in the pocket in his boxing. And there was a sweat because the guy he fought, who was from Peru, wasn't that good as far as I can see, as far as I saw. And Joshua Van was winning the fight, and then he got hit and clipped, and he got knocked down. And then he basically won the fight by wrestling. So now he is a huge favorite. Well, fairly good favorite. Now Felipe Boons, now he's 34 years old. He's 5'7". He's tall. He's got a longer reach. I watch this guy's other fights. This guy, I really like watching this guy fight. Now I know why the UFC wants to bring him in. He is a little older. I don't think he's past his prime. I think he's at his peak. I don't know why he wasn't in there sooner. Like, this guy seems pretty good. Like, he seems like a very dynamic striker. He goes for it. He seems like he'll fight anybody. He's great on the ground. He's really slick. I really like him. So I'm looking at a guy who's got a lot of experience, who's a good dynamic striker, and who's really good on the ground. I mean, he got submitted by Formuga, but Formuga is a real killer on the ground. And if you watch that fight, he had put up a really good fight in the first round before he got choked. Like, really good. Like, showed high level grappling ability against a high-level grappler. So Joshua Van should not take this guy to the ground, because I think Joshua, he's going to be in danger if he's on the ground with Boons. So it's going to be on the feet. So this guy's got a longer reach. He's a dynamic striker. Van's already showed that he can get clipped. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm not seeing, but I really like Felipe Boons in this matchup. Like, I liked him against Bondar. I like him against Van. I'm going to pick Felipe Boons. And, you know, I mean, looking at the board, I mean, he's plus 175 underdog. He's my favorite underdog. And he's huge. Like, I could be really wrong about this. But yeah, Felipe Boons is going to be the pick. I think he's going to beat Joshua Van. I like Joshua Van. He's 22 years old. He's a good fighter. But I think he's fighting a guy who's 34 years old and is at his peak. And he's such a well-rounded fighter, and he's not scared of anyone. He could take a punch, and he can throw a punch. It's very, very dynamic, good kicks, good punches. I really like watching Boons fight. I was watching his fights. It was really enjoyable. Yeah. Felipe Boons is going to be the pick, the biggest underdog for myself. Well, unless I picked Mota, then he'd be the biggest underdog. And there'll be actually a parlay where I put Mota in there. But Felipe Boons will be the most confident underdog. Moving on. Let's Gene Silva versus Weston Wilson. Gene Silva, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 11 wins, 2 losses, 27 years old. Weston Wilson, 6'1", 73-inch reach, 19 wins, 3 losses, 34 years old. Weston Wilson, I mean, I think he's in the UFC because they needed a fighter, and they got him at the last minute in one of the fights, and he got destroyed in that fight. What's his name, against Brito, and he's really long, really lanky. You know, I mean, he's not UFC caliber, but he is dangerous. I mean, you get him on the ground, I mean, anybody can get choked. This guy's some pretty good submissions. 34 years old. He's gonna fight Gene Silva, 5'7", dynamic striker. He'll go to the ground. He's not scared of anything. Sometimes he fights with his hands down. Sometimes he's a really exciting fighter. Seems really tough. He's gonna have a huge disadvantage in height and reach. I mean, this Silva should win this fight. This is Silva's fight to win. I think Wilson's going to be put up against a lot of these new up-and-comers just as an entry point until his contracts run out, and then he's just going to be released. So Gene Silva's going to be the pick. He should win this fight fairly easily, as long as he doesn't make any stupid mistakes. He could stay on the outside, probably knock him out. Don't bother taking it to the ground, because that's the one time Silva might have a chance. Wilson might have a chance. But, you know, don't even bet this fight. I mean, Silva's a minus 800 to minus 900 favorite, which is absolutely crazy. Like, I mean, Silva's not that good, I don't think. But, yeah, Silva's going to be the pick. Just avoid this fight. There's no way you can bet on it. You can't parlay it. You can't do anything with it. Just enjoy it. Silva should win. That's it. Moving on. Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. Farid Basharat, 5'8", 71-inch reach, 11 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Taylor Lapilus, 5'6", 73-inch reach, 19 wins, 3 losses, 0 draws. I really wanted to pick Lapilus. Farid's big favorite. But looking at Lapilus's last fight, I think he can get taken down. He was taken down. He won the fight 29-28 against a guy just entering the UFC. I think he's a really good striker. He's got good takedown defense. But I think once he gets taken down and on his back, he has a hard time getting up. He got up. It was very difficult for him against a wrestler. I think Basharat's a really good BJJ. I think when he gets him down, he's going to have even a harder time to get back up. Basharat still has decent striking. Like I said, I wanted to pick Lapilus. I'm looking for reasons to pick Lapilus. But, yeah, I think Basharat's got this one. I think he's going to be able to be comparable on the feet, but I don't think he really wants to stay on the feet. Lapalus is a dynamic striker, can fight at distance, but he is going to be the shorter guy in this one, which is not going to help him. Well, it's shorter in 2 inches, but really 2-inch reach disadvantage. So I think it's very comparable. I think Basharat still can be competitive on the feet until he takes him to the ground. And I think he's going to grind down Lapalus and just win a really close decision. So Farid Basharat's going to be the pick. You know, it's looking for reasons not to pick him, but I don't think Lapalus is the guy that's going to be able to beat him. But it is going to be close at -250. I wish it was the odds were a little closer. You know, Lapalus does have an opportunity to win if he's not taken down. He fights off the takedowns. But Basharat seems like he's, you know, fairly durable, and he finds a way to do this. And he's fought much better grapplers and guys with better takedown defense as well. So Farid Basharat's going to be the pick. Moving on. This one is canceled. Oh, there's a lot of cancellations. Next one, Marcus McGee versus Gaston Bolanos. Marcus McGee, 5'8", 69-inch reach, 8 wins, 1 loss, 33 years old. Gaston Bolanos, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 7 wins, 3 losses, 31 years old. Gaston Bolanos, very good striker. Pretty good takedown defense. Very dynamic. He's pretty decent fighter. I don't think he's that good. Marcus McGee, he's good everywhere. The guy, you know, he really actually surprised me. I picked against him on his first fight, and the guy just destroyed the one guy. He's been fighting low-level competition. He's been just walking through them. This guy seems very strong, very durable, good striker, good on the ground. He's so well-rounded. Yeah, like, this guy should win this fight anywhere. Gaston Bolanos, I mean, he might be able to be competitive on the feet, but if McGee decides to start going for takedowns, I think he's going to have a huge advantage. I think he's just as good a striker. So I can't see Marcus McGee losing this anywhere. You know, I have a fairly high degree of confidence from what I've seen from McGee to beat Bolanos. And at 33 years old, he got into the UFC late. I mean, this guy's really talented. I don't think we've realized how good this guy is yet. I think he's going to win this fight fairly easily. I don't know, easy. Nothing's easy, I guess, when you're fighting. But yeah, he should win this. And I think this is just another stepping stone for him to get to better competition. Marcus McGee is going to be the pick. Moving on, Matthew Semmelsberger versus Preston Parsons. Matthew Semmelsberger, 6'1", 75-inch reach, 11 wins, 6 losses, 31 years old. Preston Parsons, 5'11", 71-inch reach, 10 wins, 4 losses, 28 years old. You know, I've never been impressed with Preston Parsons. He's, you know, pressure Parsons. He does have a lot of pressure. He's very durable. He's very durable, and he's a wrestler, and he wants to get you to the ground and control you and hold you and win these rounds like that. You know, he's the kind of fighter I hate watching. So, always looking to fade this guy. But Matthew Semmelsberger is taking this on on short notice. He did lose against a pressure wrestler last time, and what's his name? Should write this stuff down, but no. Anyways, he fought really well against him. He clipped him a couple times, almost knocked him down. The guy came back and basically took him down and controlled him for long enough in the rounds to start winning the rounds back. I mean, those are the kind of rounds that if you go just off damage, you know, Semmelsberger could have possibly been awarded that decision. He ended up losing, but it's probably because both times that he hurt the other guy, he hurt him really early in the round. And then the other guy was basically, you know, grinding on him for, you know, 4 minutes, even though it was not totally dominated. If he had hurt him in the middle of the round, you know, chances are the judges would have given it to him, but it was so early that it kind of, that impact of knocking him down and hurting his opponent faded as the fight went on. So he could have easily won that fight. It was close. But the wrestler that he fought, I think, is a better wrestler than Preston Parsons. So I don't think Preston Parsons is as good as wrestler as the other guy. So I think And the other guy barely got Semmelsberger down. It was barely able to control Semmelsberger. And he's at a higher level. I think that anyone below that level in wrestling, like Parsons, will not be able to do that kind of control on Matthew Semmelsberger. The only question mark here is Matthew Semmelsberger took this in short notice. That's the only question mark. Otherwise, he's going to have the power advantage, going to have the reach advantage, going to have the height advantage. I think he's got pretty good takedown defense. I think he's going to be able to stuff some of Parsons' takedowns. He's pretty good off his back. He can reverse some positions. I think he's going to win a close decision. He might even hurt Parsons and possibly knock him out. But mind you, Parsons is very durable. I think he's going to be able to hurt Parsons though. And I think he's going to win this decision, even though it's a short notice fight. I don't think Parsons he's a good wrestler. I think Semmelsberger has fought better wrestlers in close fights, very close fights. So Semmelsberger is going to be the pick on this one. Moving on, Andrei Arlovsky versus Valdo Cortez Acosta. Where Andrei Arlovsky, 6'3", 77-inch reach, 34 wins, 22 losses, 44 years old. Waldo Cortez Acosta, 6'4", 79-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 32 years old. Andrei Arlovsky is 44 years old. If he gets hit hard, he's not gonna take it well. He's good from the outside. He's got fast hands. He's got good footwork. But Waldo Cortez, he's bigger. He's stronger. He could take a way better. Andrei Arlovsky can hit him as hard as he wants. He's not gonna knock out Acosta. So there's no danger of Acosta being knocked out. He might be able to pitter-pat him with leg kicks, but this guy, he'll just walk through it. At some point, Cortez is going to land on Arlovsky, and Arlovsky's going to be knocked out. And Cortez is actually going to be able to bully him. Arlovsky's going to be running the whole time, not to get hit. Cortez is going to move forward, and at some point, he's going to throw an overhand right. He's going to land on Arlovsky, not even cleanly, and he's going to knock him down or knock him out. There's no way Arlovsky wins this. I mean, he could be put up against older fighters, lesser fighters, and he's gonna, possibly be competitive. But this guy is gonna walk right through him. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, you gotta be so lucky for anything to go wrong. And I've watched Cortez take immense amount of damage, get hit with super powerful shots to the head, leg kicked, to oblivion, and still keep coming forward. And yeah, there's nothing he's gonna be able to walk through everything Arlovsky throws at him. And that's the thing, is he just needs to land one. That's it. So, big fan of Arlovsky. I met Arlovsky, honestly, probably about 15 years ago. Actually, where was it? He fought. This before he won champ, when he just first started coming to, when he first got to the UFC, and he fought this one guy from Hawaii. And I met him, and his hands were all swollen because he kept punching this guy in the head, and he won that stoppage. But yeah, like the guy, 44 years old. I mean, it's okay if he still fights. It's just that, man, fighting Cortez Acosta, that's too tough. He could still fight, could still make money. People still want to watch him, but he's got to fight these older guys. He's got to fight the lower level competition. This guy's too high up there. He's too young. He's too strong. No, it's not Arlovsky's night that night. Moving on. Oh, this is another one, eh? This is another one. I love this one. Phil Haas versus Bruno Ferreira. Phil Haas, 6 feet tall, 77.5-inch reach, 12 wins, 5 losses, 34 years old. Bruno Ferreira, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 31 years old. Both of them are in their prime, right? Bruno Ferreira, I haven't been able to pick this guy right. He came into the UFC and he got Rodriguez, and he was losing the fight, and did a couple of nice feints, froze Rodriguez, and knocked his lights out, and I lost. Then Ferreira comes in, fights this guy from Uzbekistan, really tall guy. Didn't see very much from him. I thought, you know what, Ferreira is way shorter, but I still think he might be able to do this. Boom, gets knocked out. But the way he got knocked out was not just one shot. He got his foot caught. He was off balance, and he got hit with a shot that kind of maybe took him off guard, knocked him down. And when he came onto the ground, the guy was very accurate, very long, reached right over and punched him kind of right when he was still not expecting it, didn't brace for it, and he completely finished him. So Ferreira could take a really good shot. He's very powerful, very durable. Phil Haas. Okay, well, we'll just finish talking about Bruno Ferreira. He's got pretty good takedown defense. He's very mobile, but he is short, but he's very powerful. And like I said, durable. But he is short. He's 2 inches shorter, but it's 5.5 inch disadvantage in reach. But he's got really good movement. Phil Haas. Which Phil Haas are we going to get? Now, I know he's been finished quite a few times, but the guy's built like a tank. He's a really good wrestler, but he switched his style. When he first came in, he was a grinding type of wrestler. He had good striking. He's very powerful on the feet, but it's nothing more than getting it ready for him to shooting his double leg takedown. So, and he beat some pretty good guys with that tactic where he would just grind on them and keep taking them down and taking them down and taking them down. And then he went to Thailand and he came back as a Thai kickboxer. And I got to admit, he looked really good. He looked really good. He looked very powerful, looked very crisp. Totally different style. So, and then he has been getting hit and knocked out. But the guys who are finishing Phil Haas are really top level guys. So even though we're questioning his chin, I'm questioning his chin, I don't know, because he has gotten knocked out quite a few times. He is a really high level striker, and if he lands, he can knock someone out. He can knock Ferreira out. But Ferreira does have a good chin, he might be able to survive. I think this fight's going to go down two ways. Ferreira's going to knock out Haas, or Haas is going to go back to his wrestling base, strike with Ferreira long enough so he can go for the wrestling takedown. And it's going to just be a grind up against the fence. Either he can't take him down or he can't take him down. It's going to be a back and forth. So the odds are, he's a slight underdog for Haas. I wanted to pick Haas, and there was going to be a parlay where I actually put Haas in it. But I'm going to pick Ferreira to win this because I think that at some point, Haas is going to land on Ferreira, and Ferreira is going to land on Haas, and I think Ferreira is going to have the bigger impact because of Haas's chin and where he's at with that. But there is a world where Ferreira doesn't land cleanly, and Haas can sting Ferreira, go for a double leg takedown, take him to the ground, and grind out a round, maybe grind out 2 rounds and win a close decision. That's definitely possible. So it depends which Haas comes in. But I have a feeling with what I saw last time from Haas that he really likes his Muay Thai. He likes his new style. And I think he's going to go in there and he's going to throw down. And I think he's going to get knocked out by Ferreira. But if he comes in there wrestling heavy, he could grind out a victory on this one. So I'm going to pick Ferreira. But if Haas comes in there wrestling, he could win this on a close decision. So, moving on. Ricky Simon versus Mario Batista. Ricky Simon, 5'6", 69-inch reach, 20 wins, 4 losses, 31 years old. Mario Batista, 5'9", 69-inch reach, 13 wins, 2 losses, 30 years old. These guys are very similar fighters. They're good on the feet, really good wrestlers, pretty good BJJ. I think Ricky Simon's a better wrestler. I think Ricky Simon is not as good a striker, but he's very, very comparable to Batista in striking. I think Ricky Simon's BJJ might not be as good as Mario Batista. Batista's got maybe a better advantage on his BJJ. I don't know if Mario Batista's chin is as good as Ricky Simon's. So these guys are really close. Even though Ricky Simon is a fairly good-sized favorite, he is a little on the shorter side, but apart from his last loss against Song Yedong, who is definitely a contender in this division, I mean, Ricky Simon has been beating everybody. And Mario Batista, I don't think he looked that good. The last fight against Blackshear, I think there was an argument to be made that he lost that fight in a decision. So, I mean, mind you, it was a lot of grappling heavy fight. This is going to be probably a lot of wrestling heavy fight, but it will start off on the feet because Simone will entertain it. There is a chance Mario Batista could win this on the feet, but I think it's going to go down to wrestling. It's going to be his takedown defense from Ricky Simone's blast double legs. I still like Ricky Simone in this. I don't think he's washed up. He lost against a top level contender with really good takedown defense. I don't think that's Mario Batista. He is taller, but Ricky Simone's generally the shorter guy. I'm going to pick Ricky Simone. I think he's going to be able to grind this out. I don't think he's done yet. He's only 31 years old. And I don't think Batista's ceiling is past Ricky Simone. I think it's going to be close. Mario Batista won't go further than this as far as levels. Ricky Simone's going to be the pick. Moving on. Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. Jim Miller, 5'8", 71 inch reach, 36 wins, 17 losses, 40 years old. Gabriel Benitez, 5'8", 71 inch reach, 23 wins, 11 losses, 35 years old. Both of them are not young, but Gabriel Benitez, lots of fights, 35 years old. I don't think he's in his prime, but I don't think he's at a super level of decline, where Jim Miller has slowly been declining, but he is still looking good. I don't think Gabriel Benitez has never been at the level of Jim Miller. So I think now Jim Miller is coming down. Gabriel Benitez is where he is, and I think they're close in this matchup because of Jim Miller's decline. They're the same height, same reach. They've both got tons of fights. I'm glad they're putting Jim Miller against the 35 and up. You know, I mean, guys he's going to be able to compete with instead of the younger, you know, killers kind of thing. And here's the thing. I think Jim Miller only wanted to... Jim Miller is close to retiring because he was specifically saying he wants to be on the 300 card. So the 300 cards are coming up. Is it April? Right? So this is January, February, March, April. He could still, if he doesn't take too much damage here, he could still be on that 300 card. I think that's where he wanted to be because he was on the 100 card or something like that, and he wanted to be on the 300 card. And I remember him saying something like that. I'm surprised they put him on this one. Maybe they should have saved him for the 300. So I think they're giving Jim Miller a winnable fight here. Benitez is dangerous. He's the kind of guy that can knock you out, but Jim Miller's got too much experience. I think he's still got pretty good defense. I think he's going to be able to take this to the ground. I think he's going to still be competitive on the feet. I think he's going to beat Benitez. I think they give him a winnable fight, and they want to keep him around till 300. I think he's going to end up somehow on this 300 fight card. That's my feeling. But, you know, he is the underdog. At 40 years old, I could see why he's the underdog. Gabriel Benitez is tough. He's durable. I mean, he'll give anybody a run for his money, even though he has had a lot of losses and a lot of KOs and everything else. This guy will put you to the fire, right? So he's a hard guy to get out of there. But I think Jim Miller is a smart fighter. He hasn't been knocked out in I don't know how many years. I think he's going to win this fight. He's going to be able to grind out Benitez. He's got great cardio. Even though he's an underdog, I'm picking Jim Miller to win this. I think he's got a good shot at it. I think he's going to win it. I think he's going to be at 300. That's my prediction. Even though he's not on it, he's going to be in it somehow. So we'll see. Jim Miller is going to be the pick. It's going to be a very close fight. You know, a real nail biter. But I'm going to pick Jim Miller. He is the underdog. Let's go for it. Come on, he's only 40. Moving on. Matheus Nicolau versus Manel Kape. Matheus Nicolau, 5'6", 66 inch reach, 19 wins, 4 losses, 30 years old. Manel Kape, 5'5", 68 inch reach, 19 wins, 6 losses, 30 years old. Same age, virtually the same height. They're both a little short for the division, especially Manel Kape. You know, he's got a couple inch reach. Who knows, you know, how they measure that. I mean, Nicolau already beat Manel Kape. I actually had a bet on Nicolau to beat Manel Kape, and it was a close fight, close decision, and Nicolau won. And I gotta admit, Kape was very hesitant in that fight. I don't know if he was scared of the takedowns, but he didn't throw enough volume, and he ended up getting the fight, losing the fight in a really close, I think it was a split decision. Manel Kape has improved. He's starting off a little faster. And I think the game plan for beating Nicolau, even though I really like Nicolau, I think he's very durable, very fast, very smart fighter. He fights on the outside, skirts around the outside, comes in, does his strikes, does his leg kicks, or shoots a takedown. And so he's always around the outside where you're not landing on him heavy. But it seems like really good fighters, top level strikers, have figured it out. They're waiting for him to come in. And when he comes in, he explodes in, and he's very fast. But if they're fast enough, they can land on him right when he walks in. Whether it's a punch or a kick or a knee. I mean, granted, if they don't land it perfectly, he ends up getting the takedown. But these high-level strikers are timing him when he's coming in from his circling. He stops. He has to come in to land. He has to come in to shoot. And that's when they're timing him. And that's when he's getting KO'd. So he's getting landed on when he shoots in, whether it's for strikes or for takedowns. Manel Kape is just that guy who can do this. So the game plan is going to be simple. You know, wait for Nicolau to shoot in and land on him when he explodes in. Most guys will not be able to stop Nicolau. He's got good angles. He doesn't get hit cleanly very often. And that's the thing, is that Manel Kape can't land on him cleanly. When he comes in, he might be on the ground. He'll fight back up. But these rounds could be like a split decision loss like he had last time. Nicolau is going to try to redeem himself. And Kape's going to try to redeem himself from that split decision loss. Nicolau is going to try to redeem himself for that KO. I think Kape has made some improvements. I think if he doesn't knock Nicolau out, he's going to win the split decision victory in his direction this time. But he always has that chance to time Nicolau and land that knee, just like Royval did. And I think Royval and Kape are kind of like the same high-level strikers. So Manel Kape is going to be the pick. It's going to be a close fight. It's not going to be easy. If you see on my board, like, it's a low level of confidence because Nicolau could pull this off. He's already won one in a split decision. There's, you know, he doesn't get caught with a clean shot. This is going to be a real split decision type of victory for someone. I think picking Kape on this one. Moving on. Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Magomed Ankalaev, 6'3", 75-inch reach, 18 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 31 years old. Johnny Walker, 6'6", 82-inch reach, 21 wins, 7 losses, 31 years old. We saw this play out last time. I picked Ankalaev to win, and Ankalaev's still picking him to win. Apart from some flying knee, crazy punch, knockout from Walker, Ankalaev is a solid striker. He's got a solid chin. He's got solid wrestling. He's got solid ground control. He can, apart from fighting at distance, where Johnny Walker's only opportunity will be some crazy kick or some crazy punch or some spinning punch that Ankalaev doesn't see and knocks him out. Apart from that, Ankalaev's got this one everywhere. And I think we started to watch that last time in the last fight. Once he got on top of him, Walker had no answers. There's nothing he's going to do about it. Ankalaev should have been the champion, but he wasn't because he got ripped off. So I don't think Walker's championship material. I think he's a top 10, you know, top 7, maybe, you know, kind of fighter. But questions about his chin, question about when he gets taken down against a really big, strong wrestler. Ankalaev's going to be the pick. I mean, he's a -500 favorite for a reason. Johnny Walker has one shot. There could be a lucky shot. That's the only way he's going to win. One lucky shot. So if Ankalaev closes the distance, once he gets in close with Johnny Walker, it's over. He's going to be able to get him to the ground and control him and grind out. But Johnny Walker's going to have 5 rounds of landing that spinning or that super kick or something on Ankalaev. And that's the only path to victory I see Ankalaev's going to be the pick at minus 500. I mean, you could put him in a parlay, but individually betting it, the odds are too crazy. You know, I wouldn't put him in individually, but in a parlay, maybe, depending on how much extra payout you get. You know, high degree of confidence, Ankalaev should win this. This is his fight to lose. Should have won the last fight if he kept going. So, yeah, there you go. That's it. Let's look at the board. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see this mofo right here. Going most confident to least confident again. This is not financial advice. Bet only what you can afford to lose. And you can take this and use it with your own information, do your own research, and possibly match this up with what you think. And yeah, maybe you can make a parlay out of it. Maybe you can bet on individual fights out of it. Whatever you choose. But like I said, only bet we can afford to lose. This is still gambling. This is a fist fight. Anything can happen. And you know what? I'm just like everybody else. I just got an opinion, you know. So here we go. Most confident, Cortez Acosta. I just don't see him losing anywhere at minus 650. Probably unbettable. Unless you put him in a parlay. He could be a parlay piece. Ankalaev, minus 500. We saw last time, apart from some lucky punch, he's going to win this fight. You know, minus 500. Individually hard to bet. In a parlay, yes, parlay piece. McGee, you know what? I like this guy. You know, he's very dynamic. He's a very tough guy. You know, he's got a unique look. Man, this guy's cool. I like him. I do hope he wins. He should win this fight. I think they're building him up for a bigger fight. He's a very humble guy, likable. Yeah, McGee's definitely high confidence pick. Again, could be a parlay piece. Silva, minus 900. Yeah, he should win, but minus 900, man, get this guy out of everything. Like, don't put him in a parlay. Don't put him anywhere. Like, this is his first fight in the UFC. Come on, minus 900. That's just so crazy. Anyways, he's not that dominant. So, I don't know, is he even lost? It's almost funny to read it. Where is he? Where is this guy? Where is this guy? Yeah, he lost twice. He's not like he's unbeaten. Like, somebody beat this guy. So, nevertheless, anyways. Basharat, high degree of confidence. I actually had him lower. I had him over here. But you know what? The more I looked at it, the more, you know, I have a little more confidence in Basharat. Like, I gotta admit, the guy, you know, I bet against him a couple times, and the guy's good. The guy's good. Very well-rounded. Very smart. He knows how to win fights. He knows how to win rounds. Very cerebral. You know, I really like that about him. And yeah, he's well-rounded, but he's very smart. So he's going to be fairly high degree of confidence. Boons, you know, this underdog is actually mid-range confidence. I mean, I just don't see him losing this fight. My famous last words, right? But I really like him. Very dynamic, good on the ground, good on the feet. After seeing Joshua Van get clipped over and over again by that, I think it was a right hand, and really hurt one time. I mean, I could see this happening with Boons. He's fast, he's accurate, he's dynamic, great on the ground. I really like this underdog, you know. Well, let's see what happens when we do the recap. Maybe I'll be crying, but yeah, it's going to be right here. Simone, again, Batista's no slouch. Simone's going to be at the top of his game, going to have to keep grinding. It's going to be a close fight. Simone should win. He's been up. He's up there. He's not washed up. He just lost against a top contender. That's it. And then Batista almost lost against not a top contender. So Simone's going to be the pick. Semmelsberger, you know, if he had a little more time, he'd be more confident. But Preston Parsons, I mean, good journeyman. Semmelsberger, had some bad losses. He's gotten clips from very dynamic strikers. He got hurt from dynamic strikers. That is not Preston Parsons. But he is very powerful. Preston Parsons does get hit. Semelsberger should be able to clip him. And Preston Parsons, even though he's a great wrestler, I don't know if he can keep people on the ground. Semelsberger has a get-up game. I think he wins this fight. Moving on, Miller. Second underdog. Come on, Miller. At 40, you got one more in you. They'll probably put you in 300. Benitez, I mean, the only thing I'm scared of Benitez is some crazy knockout punch or kick. That's the only thing I'm scared of. Otherwise, Miller's got pretty good defense, very durable. If he survives that, he's going to win this fight. Especially as the fight goes on, Benitez is going to fade. Miller's here. Cap. I mean, I like Cap. It's going to be a close fight. Nicolau's no slouch. These guys fought to a split decision for a reason next time. Either Cap's going to catch him with a flying knee or it's going to be a split decision victory. Cap's right here. Moving on. This one flipped. I'm picking Nolan. Okay, at minus 280, I just don't like it. I mean, I might even change my mind. And like I said, if you put a bet on Moda, I would not. I had Moda up here. I would not like that bet. At plus 230, Moda has a chance. Nolan's new. Nolan's young. He fights. If he does not fight the perfect fight, and if he goes back with his strikes, Mota can catch him with a leg kick and with a left hand. If Nolan fights the perfect fight like the guy fought against him last time, what's his name? Anyways, where he curls to the left, Mota will not be able to land on him. Mota does not have the reach to do that. He'll be out of range and out of his power. But if he moves straight back, he's going to have a really good chance of getting clipped and hit and knocked out. I don't know if he's going to be able to recover. He's never been tested the way he's going to be tested now. Nolan's going to be the pick. I'm going to have a sprinkle on Mota for the KO for sure. I'm going to have a parlay where I might have a smaller parlay with Mota as a substitute because of the plus 230, the effect it'll have on it. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of going both ways on this one. Moving on. But nevertheless, we'll call it for an actual pick when I do my counts of right or wrong. It's gonna be Nolan. So, you know, I gotta go one way or the other for you guys. But really, I'm gonna go both ways depending on how I structure my bets. Ferreira versus Haas. Again, coin flip fight. Haas gonna be throwing down, can clip Ferreira. Maybe can knock him out. But if Ferreira clips Haas, he will be knocking him out. If Haas starts to wrestle and grind this guy, he could win a close decision victory against Ferreira. So, coin flip fight. I'm going to have Ferreira as my pick. The odds aren't that far off. So, you know, where here, it's well worth maybe putting a sprinkle on Mota. Here, I'm not so sure. But I think Haas could win this fight. And there will be a parlay where I have Haas instead of Ferreira just as a backup because this is a coin flip fight for me. So, this is it, guys. Let's do this. The first fight of the year. And, well, here's a fact that I'm going to share with you when I turn this around. I started this podcast the week after the first fight in January of 2023. I was actually going to start the podcast. It was January 9th, I think. It was the first fight. And I had my picks. I had everything ready. And I couldn't get the podcast out. It was my first one. I had some technical problems. So I got the recap out. That was the first podcast. I wish I would have got it out because I actually hit 100%. I hit my parlay, the large parlay. It was a 10-fight parlay. I hit it. So I went on and did the recap, and I said, for what it's worth, you know, this is my first podcast. I was testing things out, and you know, for what it's worth, I went over the fights. You know, I mean, looking back at it, it means nothing, right? But just for statistical, you know, recap, this is one of the two parlays I hit, where I hit 100% on the large parlays, was the first fight in January of 2023. This is the first fight in January 2024. So, I mean, let's, you know, I'm superstitious. Maybe this is the one again. Maybe it'll just start it off right. So, nevertheless, that's just a little small fact or a tidbit that I wanted to talk about. So I'm kind of excited for this card because this started off 2023, the UFC, the first fight card started off really well for me. So I was very excited to start this one off as well. So after going back and forth, that's going to be the final picks. Yes, there's a bottom two that I am going to have alternated. I mean, just as a backup because of the odds or the closeness of the fights. Hopefully we hit it again, you know, first fight in January, in the new year. So there you go. Thank you very much for joining me. Hit like if you like the content. Hit subscribe if you want to be notified with the next videos, just since I'm not really consistent with them and the timing. Yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd like to see if you disagree or agree. I mean, I always read the comments. I always respond. Definitely curious to see what everyone else is thinking. Other than that, we will see you in the recap in a little less than 2 weeks after the fight. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Belated if you follow the Gregorian calendar. And if you follow the Julian calendar, Christmas is this weekend and New Year's is in a couple weeks. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me.